The Delhi government has told the Supreme Court today that it is ready to implement a complete lockdown in the national capital to control the rising levels of air pollution. However, the Delhi government has said that the step will be meaningful if a lockdown is also imposed in the neighbouring national capital region. In an affidavit, the Delhi government has said such a step, in other words a complete lockdown, will be meaningful if it is implemented across the NCR areas in neighbouring states. The Supreme Court on its part has hit out at the Delhi government over its affidavit. The Supreme Court said it was all about bashing farmers and how the entire cause of pollution is stubble burning. They also said that the government is passing the buck to the municipal commissioner. The court has now asked the central government and the state to prepare a report on which industries can be stopped, which vehicles can be prevented from plying, and which power plants can be stopped. And the Supreme Court had said the cat is out of the bag. Farmers are being blamed needlessly. In fact, the government says stubble fire is contributing to only 4% of the pollution. The poor to severe air pollution days are up over 28% over the last year. The Supreme Court has directed the centre to call for an emergency meeting tomorrow over issues such as stopping construction, non-essential transport, power plants, and implementing work from home to deal with air pollution in the Delhi NCR region. It also has asked the centre and the states of this region to consider work from home for employees in the meantime. The matter has been adjourned for the 17th of November.
Today the Delhi pollution matter was listed in Supreme Court, and surprisingly the Government of India is also trying to protect the farmers, because probably they also don't want to displease them as Punjab government and during election time. And they are making a wrong statement in court that the stubble burning is only contributing less than 10% of air pollution in Delhi, whereas their yesterday's high-powered meeting, which is part of their affidavit, very clearly records that even now the effect of stubble burning is about 35 to 40% on Delhi's pollution. Activity needs to be regulated rather than banned because it has so many far-reaching consequences.
तमाम प्रयासों के बावजूद, चाहे वो दिल्ली सरकार के प्रयास हों, चाहे वो केंद्र सरकार के प्रयास हों, ना तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट संतुष्ट हो पा रही है और ना ही दिल्ली की जो आबो हवा है वो साफ हो पा रही है।
नहीं, देखिए, दिल्ली के अंदर जो अभी दिवाली के बाद से सिचुएशन बनी है, उसमें जिस स्तर पे सुधार होना चाहिए था वो नहीं हो रहा है। अक्टूबर की जो प्रदूषण की स्थिति थी वो सामान्य थी। सरकार की तरफ से भी बहुत सारे प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं। जैसे आज से दिल्ली के अंदर सारे कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्क को बंद कर दिया गया है।
हम भी ये मानते हैं और आप लोग भी बताते हैं कि पराली जो है इस समय सबसे मुख्य कारण है जिसकी वजह से प्रदूषण बढ़ता है। बाकी कारण भी होते हैं, लेकिन इस समय जो हवा ज्यादा खराब होती है पराली को मानते हैं। लेकिन जो केंद्र सरकार है वो ये कह रही है कि इसका कंट्रीब्यूशन जो है आबो हवा के अंदर वो 4% है, 10% है।
मसला इसका नहीं है कि आंकड़े क्या कह रहे हैं, अब वो तो केंद्र सरकार को समझना होगा कि वो कौन सा आंकड़ा बता रही है और किस समय का आंकड़ा बता रही है। हाँ। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है कि वो आंकड़ा किस समय का है, क्योंकि किस समय, अगर पराली जिस समय जल नहीं रही थी तो उस समय का आंकड़ा अलग है। भाई किसी दिन 48% पराली का आंकड़ा था, किसी दिन 40% था सफर ने जो जारी किया, किसी दिन 26% जारी किया, तो वो तो आंकड़े सफर के ही हैं, दोनों केंद्र सरकार के हैं।
Well, yes, that is what the Supreme Court has asked the central as well as the Delhi government to do. The Supreme Court was very unhappy with the fact that the government had come back to them, but with long-term plans, but not emergency measures about the major causes of pollution like industrial pollution, road dust, or even vehicular pollution. So the centre has asked these governments, especially the centre as well as the state governments of the NCR state, to consider work from home for its employees at least for the next 1 week, and has also asked the state government to try and pursue and convince the farmers to not carry out any stubble burning for the next 1 week. So those are the directions from the Supreme Court, and for now the hearing will take place on Wednesday, and that's the time when these governments are supposed to come back with their final plans on these issues. But definitely it was a hard day for both the centre as well as the Delhi government, which got lashed at by the Supreme Court, with Justice Surikant saying that the Delhi government was passing the buck to the MCD, an organisation whose employees are apparently unable to get salaries because the Delhi government is not transferring funds from its end to the MCD, to even the centre being questioned repeatedly on, how their stand on stubble burning. Earlier they kept saying it was a major cause and a major contributor to pollution, and now they're saying that it's not a major cause, to which Justice Suryakant said that then it seems that all the hue and cry you made about stubble burning, that was really not called for at all. So all of these major issues that came up at the Supreme Court today for discussion, the government are getting hit at by the Supreme Court again, but have been asked to come up with their final emergency plans by Wednesday.
Now, joining us now, the BJP leader Alok Vats. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us. We're also joined by Vimlendu Jha, the environmentalist, and Jasmine Shah of the Aam Aadmi Party. Jasmine Shah, let me come to you first. What exactly is the Delhi government going to do based on what has been stated in the Supreme Court today? What are the measures you're immediately going to introduce?
Vishnu, Delhi government pressed into action 2 days back when the emergency meeting was called by the Honorable CM. And we have taken actions without waiting for either the court to mandate it or for any surrounding states to do it. So we have shut down schools and colleges, as you're aware. There is a complete ban on construction. All government offices are shut and only work from home is there. So we are taking all these actions.
No,
we
but
will
beyond
monitor,
that,
and if
what else
needed,
are you
we will
going to
even
do?
go for...
What about shutting down local industries? What about restricting the movement of cars? Beyond what you've done, are you doing anything else? As long as it's done by the NCR, because that's an important point.
No, so that's precisely where I'm coming at, Vishnu, that we have told the Honorable Court today that we are happy to go even for a complete lockdown or a partial lockdown. But we have to always understand that this air pollution is a regional issue. If Delhi does it and the NCR cities are not doing it, there is absolutely going to be no impact. And this is what we are seeing even in the case of Parali, which I must say, and I'm glad you put it out, that the Solicitor General today willingly misled the court, despite their affidavit, page number 114, stating that the contribution of Parali in the peak season is 35 to 40%. He lied to the court when it said 10%.
In fact, I'm just interrupting you there because I want to get details on that before I go across to Alok Vats. Vimlendu, what is the percentage of stubble burning as a share of air pollution across North India right now?
Okay, so Vishnu, the thing is that these are half truths in many ways. Of course, national average or annual average could be 4%, but that's not the way that you actually present episodic sources of pollution. Jasmine is absolutely right that on particular days, the contribution of stubble burning ranges from 2% to 40%. But Jasmine is wrong at another point, while he's right at one, to say that only 2-3 weeks of air pollution by stubble is the main source of Delhi becoming a gas chamber. That's incorrect. That's actually really passing the buck, because Delhi's air quality is bad throughout the year. If you look at CPCB data itself from 2015 till today, there's only been 10 good air days that Delhi has had. Indeed, spike in air quality comes from stubble burning. But to hide behind stubble burning every time and not work on local domestic issues, which still remain the primary source of pollution, as per its own data, as a matter of fact,
Vimlendu, I get that. But as a matter of fact, what is the amount of stubble burning contributing to air pollution presently since this latest phase of air pollution happened?
So yesterday it was 30%.
Sorry, how much?
Yesterday it was 30% almost.
Right.
Day before it was 35. This morning it was around 10 to 12%. That's what it was. So it changes every day depending on the wind conditions, and this only stays for 2 to 3 weeks. Vishnu, in February also air quality index of Delhi is around 250. There's no stubble burning.
Mr. Vats, let me in fact come to you first. Today in the Supreme Court, the centre appeared to indicate that the share of stubble burning to pollution in the National Capital Region is approximately 4%. But as I understand it from Vimlendu, at this time of the year, over the last few days, it's been far more than that, up to 40% even. It changes from day to day. So would that assertion by the centre in the court not be inaccurate?
See, maybe the data which was provided to the court was on a yearly basis.
Correct. I suspect so. That's what I suspect, yes.
But there is no doubt about it, what Vimlendu has said. And even for us to see and experience that a substantial contribution towards these months, rather mainly November, comes from stubble burning. But that is not the only cause for polluting this or making it a gas chamber. I was surprised to look into the data that only 2 nations outside Asia are in the top 10 in this zone.
Yes.
List. Sofia in Bulgaria and Belgrade in Serbia.
Yeah.
But rest all are from Asian continent.
Yeah.
So
no, it's a huge problem, sir. We discussed this for the last 10 years. I've been discussing this.
And as Kejriwal ji has said, I agree with his view that only, controlling Delhi is not the matter, will not solve the matter. Even the neighboring states have to take curbs to protect this. What is the difference between Gurgaon and Delhi?
No, there is no difference, absolutely. But it's Uttar Pradesh, it's Haryana, and it's Delhi at the very least. The question is, we keep discussing this every year. So if I was to play out the answers of an Aam Aadmi Party leader or a BJP leader from a discussion which I have done 5 years back, no one would be able to tell the difference between what is being said now and what was said 5 years back.
Some you have rightly pointed out that this is not a political issue. ये मरने और जीने की बात है. It concerns life and death. You see, this Holocaust will lead us to ultimately where people are wearing masks inside their homes, in the toilet, in their bedrooms.
Mr. Watts, 1 second. Jasmine, you had a point to make. Go ahead before I go back to Vimlendu and wrap this up. Yeah.
Vishnu, I think it is fair to ask what has changed in 5 years. And I want to submit here that Delhi, we are not saying that we will not work on local sources of pollution. We will. And I would like to stick my neck out and say that what Delhi has done in the last 5 years, no state around in the North India has done. And I'll list 5 points only in 30 seconds. First, we provide 24/7 power supply. No diesel generators today. You will see it running in Delhi. Second, we have worked with PUSA Institute to come up with a very cost-effective solution to stubble burning, and we are giving it free to farmers in Delhi. Why can't it be given outside? Third, we have increased our bus fleet from 5,500 to 7,000, and we have introduced a very progressive EV policy. Delhi today is the leading state in electric vehicles. We have shut down our thermal power plants, and we have also moved our entire industry, Vishnu. Mind you, entire industry in Delhi works on piped natural gas. Now tell me one state around Delhi that has done any one of these 5 things.
Yeah.
So you see a very different standard by which what Delhi is doing, and the rest of the country and the central government couldn't bother.
Fair enough.
They are
I take that point. Perhaps more needs to be done. But Vimlendu, let me get a last comment from you. Vimlendu, the reason we are discussing this is because all of our lifespans, yours, Mr. Watts, mine, and Jasmine's lifespan is going down as we breathe this air year to year, right? That's the bottom line. What does the science tell us? What do the studies tell us on this? Because it's no longer a debate; it's a fact.
So University of Chicago just last month said that an average North Indian actually loses 9.5 years living in of lifespan. We've had Lung Care Foundation tell us that every third child has asthma. We have Lancet report that 1.5 million people die in India because of air pollution. So mortality and morbidity, both is what it is. My problem, and Jasmine is right, of course there are those many steps that they have taken, but you need to do more, Jasmine, as in it's not proportionate to the crisis that is there. Your budget of, as you are a very educated person and you're a friend, you can't believe on building one smog tower as your, or a light on, light off kind of a measure. Proportionate to the kind of crisis, we don't see that action from you. And we don't see, of course you're right, we don't see anything from our neighboring states. And Noida is as polluted or perhaps worse polluted than Delhi. But this is not about look at someone else. It's about looking at, I am as a Delhi citizen, I'll ask question of you. And you don't have to show me Yogi Adityanath and someone else. This is the capital, and therefore questions will be asked of the government of the capital, and more difficult questions will be asked. So you have done a little, you have to do more, because this crisis is about life and death and mortality and morbidity, and you can't just say you made a policy and you
I don't think there's any debate in that, and I think it's welcome that Jasmine says that a lot more is being done. Alokji, 30 seconds, I need to wrap this up.
You see, I agree with Jasmine. This is not a matter of politics. We all must put our heads together and find hard measures to control this. Otherwise, we will be in a big Holocaust. And as he said, children, adults, all will be suffering, and there will be heavy toll of deaths because of this.
It's already been happening, sir. It's just that when a person dies of air pollution, the cause of death is not listed as air pollution. It's listed as something else. And that's the problem. It's a medical crisis in this country that we've all suffered from.
No blame game, no talking. Yeah. No blame game and no talking.
Got it, sir. All right, we're going to wrap this up at this stage, take a short break and come back with more. Thank you all very much for being here.